All right, Jess, let's take a look what you got here. My first thought is it's kind of a cool shot. Good way to open. So let's see what happens here. Maybe consider a fade in. It started automatically. Let me just see again if you got one. Yeah, maybe consider a slight fade. Oh, that's cool. A reputation story. That's kind of a cool transition.
My name's Ryan Howell. I am the project manager for River Parks Authority, overseeing Turkey Mountain Urban Wilderness. River Parks Authority is 3 words, by the way.
Okay.
A lot of people get that confused because it's on our logos.
What did he just say? It's like River Parks Authority, but then we went here and you only see.
Okay.
A lot of people get that confused because it's on our logos, one word. So before I started working at River Parks, I was an archaeologist for the federal government, and I had a lot of weekends free, and so I actually started coming out to Turkey Mountain.
You could maybe cut.
Okay.
A lot of people mountain urban wilderness. I'm the project manager for River Parks Authority, overseeing Turkey Mountain.
River Parks. So one thing is he's saying one thing, River Parks is.
Urban wilderness. I'm the project manager for River Parks Authority, overseeing Turkey Mountain.
There it says association.
Urban wilderness. River Parks Authority is 3 words, by the way.
Okay.
A lot of people get that.
I would take that out, the whole authority thing, only because it's throwing me off because he says it, but we see association there, and then we don't see it here. But you can
Confused
probably
because it's
keep
on
your
our
sign.
logos, one word. So before I started working at River Parks, I was an archaeologist for the federal government, and I had a lot of weekends free, and so I actually started coming out to Turkey Mountain, I want to say about 15, 16 years ago. Instantly fell in love with the place, as most people do. And I started volunteering for like the cleanup days and trail maintenance days, and I literally volunteered
Maybe
so
some
much they
B-roll
offered me
over
a
this
job
part.
one day. And that was about a decade ago, and I've been here so about 10 years now.
First question was.
You could probably like maybe punch in on him a little bit or something to cut around that edit. Maybe just get it like, I don't know, a little bit shorter. Yours is pretty polished though. Like,
And that was about a decade ago, and I've been here so about 10 years now.
First question.
so same with there. Maybe something so we don't go interview to interview, B-roll, interview.
Difficult question. What's your name?
Tom. I've lived in Tulsa for.
One issue, he's out of focus. I would also make this smaller so it doesn't look like his name is Tom Hiker.
About 4 years now, and I've been coming ever since I moved here. I love to hike, and I don't live that far away, and so it's a great place for me to be able to drive to in 10 minutes, and trail system's really extensive.
Dang.
There's some.
It's good audio, but that's about as out of focus as. There's a degree to which I say somebody is acceptably in focus, and that's just not
Beautiful
one
spots
of them.
back there. I just love hiking.
But you
Yeah,
have to be
Turkey
able to
Mountain had
salvage the
a
audio.
former reputation as a nefarious place where it was basically the Tulsa's version of Grindr back in the day, you know. And you don't have to put that on camera, but that's what it was. And you know,
I would take it out only because he didn't seem to necessarily want that. Could you skirt around the issue, or at least take out him saying you don't need to put that on camera?
depending on which way you parked. Anyway, that being said, that was back in the 90s. So a lot of people have this misperception that this was yesterday, and that activity was
So maybe
literally
we're like him touching upon the subject without being so explicit, and then I like how he follows it up with like, but that was the 90s, that wasn't yesterday. So if you do the trick that I taught you about punching into close-up, then you can cut around
back
his
in the
interview
late
a little bit better.
late 1990s and maybe, you know, into the early 2000s. So we're talking
But I
20
get, because you're like changing the reputation.
years ago. So set that off in your mind, everybody. Like, yeah, Turkey Mountain did have a nefarious reputation.
Again, he's kind of asking you to not dwell upon. So I think you can get that in there with maybe cutting it down in half and not leave a little to the imagination on
You
it.
know, in the last 20 years, that reputation has gone completely by the wayside. And now this is, you know,
I don't know about
one of-
this
So we're
shot
talking
here.
video was literally. So we're talking off in your mind, everybody. Like, yeah, Turkey
That seems like an odd cutaway.
Mountain did have a nefarious reputation, but you know, in the last 20 years,
As
that
was
reputation has gone completely by the wayside.
Unless
And now
you're just
this
trying to
is, you
show
know,
it was like not as good back then, maybe. But again, I think a lot of this needs to be. I think you can.
one of the gems of Tulsa. It is, you know, dare I say, its green heart. You know, like it's green. It's the heart of its green space.
That's a good line as well. That might be a good. Yeah, that's a line
That
worth
in our beautiful, you know, river corridor with the river park system.
highlighting.
And so in the last 20 years, you know, this has become a place.
That's
where
another thing you could look at is, you know, when somebody's like, and cutting some of that out.
bikers come and where hikers come and where trail runners come and it has its reputation is dramatically taken a shift.
So again, he's kind of talking about people being there, seeing things, you know. So it might be worthwhile to see some hikers.
You know, a place to go and recreate truly for everyone in Tulsa.
First question, most difficult question. What's your name?
Cortland Park.
There again, this one's the last two. Have been out of focus.
Yeah. You got it. That's impressive. Most people get it weird.
So you can,
Cortland Park. Yeah.
if you just put up his name and then make this cyclist a little smaller, we don't need to hear him say what his name is because you're showing it.
You got it. That's impressive. Most people get it weird. Honestly, not that long. It's a new bike day, so came mountain bike with my friends, rode on his bike with me. So this is the first time out on this bike here. So
So again, show more bikes there than rocks. There's some bikes in the beginning,
came mountain bike with my friends, rode on his bike with me. So this is the
but
first
maybe
time out on this
more
bike
bikes
here.
in there.
This is probably the second or third time I've been here. I mean, I just always like being out in nature. I'm
That
a
one
roadie,
is
so I
more in focus than the other, but that's still a little bit soft.
bike on the roads all the time. So any excuse I can have to have another bike and get out and have some fun.
Turkey's pretty nice.
Okay.
I will say, you know, you've seen the news about the, you know, recent attacks at Turkey Mountain. And I'll share a couple of things with you is that we met pretty extensively with Tulsa Police Department about those incidents. And they pulled the statistics for the number of 911 calls that have occurred at Turkey Mountain over the past year. And that's everything from, hey, I locked my keys in my car. Hey, I'm lost out here in the woods. I broke my foot. I crashed. I need a medical evacuation. To I've been assaulted. To my car's broken in. Okay, that's all. And there were about 60 or 70 calls in the last year. So Turkey Mountain is about the size of any neighborhood in Tulsa. And if you were to compare the number of 911 calls at Turkey Mountain to any neighborhood, the nice ones, the poor ones, whatever, Turkey Mountain would be at the top of the list, safest place that you could possibly be inside city limits. I mean, hands down, by the number.
So right there, that's a good. We might not need all of that. So I think that's one of the things is it's just kind of, I see that you cut some of what he said out, but I think if you punch in, and that would be the big thing is, honestly, I think you can get this down by at least a minute or two. And I'd rather go for quality over quantity. Like, I'm not so worried
But we're
about-
trying a lot. We're doing a lot. You know, we're introducing a hiking buddies program. We're adding security
That's
cameras.
good. See, I like that, where you see people out, like, doing stuff.
We've increased our neighborhood watch program, like our Turkey Mountain
Your
Trail
shots are a little
program.
blue. A lot of, like, blue tint in the shadows.
To
watch
over
that color
300
correction.
people. I mean, there are
I think
300
you're-
people who come out here, and there are some that come every single day who are keeping an eye on things. I got 5 messages this morning about things at Turkey Mountain going on that I referred on. You know, that were like, hey, this looks a little off, or somebody did something, you know, like this. Like, you know, so they're keeping an eye on things. So that is one of the things that a lot of people don't
Punch his audio up there a little bit. I'm losing it. I think it's because the music's getting louder, though.
realize is they think they're out there in the woods, like by themselves, and they are. But they're out there with all of my trail team members themselves, and they are. But
That
they're out
cut,
there.
for some reason, why is that jarring me?
Realize is they think they're out there in the woods, like by themselves, and they are. But they're out there with all
Maybe cut to this a little sooner?
themselves,
Something's...
and they are. But they're out there with all of my trail team members.
Play with that.
Keeping an eye on things, making sure that, hey, you know, if you get lost, somebody will be able to come by and figure out where you're at and help get you out of there. Or you know, if you're up to no good, somebody's going to see you. Somebody's going to report that.
And maybe end on a positive note. Whatever, some way of ending positive. Like, I like the safety, but really end strong, I think, on something positive, and then we can show that there's been some redemption. So really, you're at close to 6 minutes. I think you could probably, even if this were at somewhere in the 3 to 4, I think the crux of what's there, because really what now I think is just kind of cutting down on his interview some and getting some more B-roll in there, but it's pretty polished. So I think you came up with some good ideas and you had some good thoughts on this. So well done, good job. I will get your grade in for this.